Already, that's so cool. Okay, hey Alex, awesome. We're so glad y'all are here.
Happy Sunday, man. What a week. What a year. Goodness gracious. We in every way this was not how we thought it was going to be, but that is kind of a theme in our lives and in your life too, I know. So we're up for the challenge to continue to define and re-narrate the story in front of us, even if it's really different than the one that we thought we'd be living. And that is what the world is waking up to. And so yeah, man, just praying you guys are safe and well and healthy, and also just that your heart is feeling encouraged that maybe there's something new that is coming to life in the world,
right?
And a new kind of hope, a new way forward. So that's what we've been feeling in our hearts, as much as there's been grief too, and just sadness for so many hard things happening.
Absolutely.
But I think we also just miss our friends in California. So thanks for jumping on for this. It's a real poor substitute for in person. Man, we're seeing that so much. We had just dozens of speaking engagements that were all called off, and we did a lot of Zooming and a lot of filming in our in our office, some version of a talk, and it wasn't great. But it was what it was, and I'm grateful for technology in this season, even for right now, so that we can engage just a little bit. And so we're grateful and hopeful for the day we get to see you in person again, which I pray is not too long away. We shall see. It'll be here before we know it, I bet.
It's hard to believe that we were supposed to be in LA with you guys at the Los Angeles Country Club on April 26th. And before that, when we actually were able to come to you guys the year before that at the Miller Country Club, right around April 26th of the year before. And a lot has changed in the life of us, our ministry since then, but a lot hasn't. And we're excited to tell you about some just really cool developments, and just humbly ask you to support us in some new endeavors. So we are just delighted that y'all are giving us this time, and we want to honor your time and not take too much of your time.
It'll be short. This is going to be a quick gathering tonight, but we just thought it was with such gratitude and humility, we wanted to connect with our LA community, who's been a part of just fostering and uplifting this ministry, this second chance living that we've gotten to be a part of for 12 years now. It was the 12th anniversary not long ago of Catherine surviving the stroke, in this new normal and new world, a new ministry, a new calling that we found. And so much of that we owe to you guys, and just how the Lord has used you to call out this new path for us and our family, and also to support it really tangibly, and to create something like Hope Heals Camp across the country that has exponentially grown these past 3 years. And we hate that there's sort of this there's this upward trajectory that camp is going on, and that is kind of it's taken a little detour this year. But if you've read the beginning of Hope Heals book, we don't believe in detours.
Right, so, seriously,
we think that this is part of a plan of how God is maybe limiting things, not just in our life and in our ministry, but in the world. But that we might find in that limitation, and that constraint, and that disability, even this whole new way of doing things, this whole new clarity and creativity and compassion for each other.
Right.
And
if you've read Suffer Strong, then you know that we strongly believe that the places where there is constraint of some kind are actually avenues through which we can flourish. Right. And the world wouldn't see it that way, but we've absolutely seen it in our own lives, and powerfully through things like camp, that constraint can in fact allow for a unique creativity and clarity, and can lead to just something new. Yeah. And that's our prayer for this.
Well, speaking of something new, here is our first digital fundraiser. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it goes. We're so grateful to have this team too. Last year, we were able to really expand our team, because we just caught a vision of what God was doing and how we needed to bring in some more partners to to expand it and to be the best stewards of it. And so we've got a few of them on here tonight, including Anna Goodrich, who works with us and helps coordinate our calendar and correspondence and communications. And she's a fantastic, just right-hand helper for Catherine and I, and our executive assistant. And then we have Caroline Young, who is on here too. And then I'm going to throw it to her in just a second for her to say hello to you all.
Perfect.
Caroline works with us in our donor management and our resources as well. So if you've gotten something from the shop, she has been your gal. Caroline,
Caroline, are you there?
I am.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Caroline.
Yay. Okay. Hey.
Hey guys. I just wanted to jump on really quickly and introduce myself. As Jay just said, my name is Caroline Young. I'm the Ministry Logistics Coordinator here and handle all things donor management. So I have gotten to meet some of you digitally so far, and I would love to meet a lot more of you in person sometime in the hopefully near future. Jay mentioned something earlier that I think is super important about what we do here at Hope Heals. And he said, we don't ever want to forget that our ministry is mutual. It's not exclusive, and that we get to do this alongside of you guys, even if it's over Zoom and being live streamed to YouTube. And I am so thankful to be a part of a ministry and a nonprofit that allows us to do that, to do ministry alongside of other people. So we couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I am going to flip it over to my coworker, Alex, who does a lot of different things for this team. One of the most important things that she does, she's the director of Hope Heals Camp and is now the director of Hope Heals at Home.
Yay.
Hi. I think it's working. I think I'm on.
Yes.
I'm Alex, and I am Jay's youngest sister, which most of you guys know because we have the same face, the same personality, and everything's the same. But yes, I work for Hope Heals on the creative side. And I have also gotten to direct our summer camps since 2017 so I've been directing them now for 4 years, and we've had 6 sessions of Hope Heals Camp that has hosted about 2,000 people over those 6 sessions from 35 states and the UK. And so we've grown this pretty huge community that is uniquely invested, almost unlike any other thing I've been a part of. Our volunteers and campers are so bought into camp, and camp is this little 1-week event that we do, but the community is connected all year round. And so it really creates these deep relationships and friendships that cross over into the rest of the year, not just into camp time. And so even facing the challenges of this pandemic and having to decide whether we would cancel camp this year or we would go ahead with it, we had this fantastic foundation built of this cross-country and even global camp community that our participants are pretty used to keeping up relationships over distance. And so we felt pretty confident in what the community already had built. And so after a lot of prayer and speaking with a lot of people we trusted in the medical world and in the wider camp world and in the disability world, we decided that the best way to serve our campers and volunteers this year was to shift camp to a virtual format. We put a high priority on holistically serving our campers, and this year that really meant prioritizing physical health alongside spiritual, emotional, and relational health. And so we were not willing to risk anybody getting sick from the COVID-19 outbreak. And so we wanted to be good neighbors in that way and make that decision. And it was a pretty heartbreaking decision to make, because camp is the highlight of my year. And for so many of our campers, it's a lifeline that truly keeps them going for the rest of the year. So it was a very heavy decision to make, but we're very committed to offering something new. Most of our peers in the disability summer camp world decided to cancel and not offer any other alternative programming. And so we have decided that we want to hybridize a virtual experience with a real life experience. And so we've spent the last couple months creating Hope Heals at Home, which is our answer to Hope Heals Camp in the era of the pandemic. And so on the weekend of July 17th and 18th, we are hosting a virtual event, and we will have about 550 participants from about 200 households in 28 states joining us for adult programming and kid programming that will utilize most of our original camp speakers and worship leaders and messaging, but we're just gonna bring it to them from home. But we're also getting to add a real life element through some really sweet programs that we're going to introduce throughout the summer, the first of which will be a pen pal program that will launch next week, where we're going to pair Hope Heals at Home participants with new friends that they're going to get to connect with through an old-fashioned pen pal program. And that's just the beginning of a lot of opportunities for real life connection leading up to our July 17th and 18th event. We're expecting wonderful big things from Hope Heals at Home that will last beyond just the July event, but that we can make into evergreen teaching content available to people for years and years to come. And Jay and Catherine are going to tell you more about that. But we are just so thankful that you are tracking along with us in a situation we could have never imagined being in. And we have a lot of hope and high expectations for the things that are coming. But yeah, thank you for being with us tonight.
Yay, yay. Thanks, Al. Are we back on? Probably, almost. Well, do we need to do anything? Hey.
Well done, Al.
Yeah, thank you, Al. Thank you, Caroline. We love you all so much, and they're just so grateful.
Let me say one thing too. Al, I didn't get to introduce Al, but Al is my youngest sister. We're 10 years apart. Really so connected in so many ways, and it's been a really cool opportunity to work together. Alex has actually been working with us since the inception of Hope Heals. Anything graphic design wise or creative communications has been from Alex, and we were so grateful last year also because of your support to be able to bring her on full time to really just leverage all her incredible talents to continue to grow this. And I mean, what perfect timing in a way too, because we were having I mean, who knew we'd have to pivot in huge creative ways that have been stretching all of us as we anticipate Hope Heals at Home. So anyway, love you, Al. So glad that you are here.
And as Alex was sharing a few more details about, y'all, isn't this so cool? Like, so Hope Heals Camp is not canceled, which everything in the world is canceled. Let's be real. Like, every random thing you were doing, your kids were doing, like, canceled. And yet we refuse to cancel for many reasons. One of the big motivations is everything else in the world is. So the thought of just devastating our sweet campers who look forward to this all year and canceling was just not an option. That was not going to sit well with any of us. Go ahead.
Speaking of campers, Carly.
Yeah, so one of our amazing campers is with us. Carly, are you there? Carly McGovern, everybody.
Drum roll, please.
Well, I hope she's there.
Setting the spotlight on her. Yeah, you got to fill a moment of time.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you about Carly till she gets
That's a
on.
good idea.
Carly is an absolutely incredible human being, a sweet friend, and she lives in Annapolis, Maryland. And it's a really just beautiful connection to our LA family that Carly's uncle, Jim McGovern, goes to Bel Air Press, our church, when we were in LA. And they connected that she knew of us and had read our book, I think, several years ago when we still lived in LA. In the meantime, Jim and Carmela came to a fundraiser that we were hosting, got her a piece of art that they sent her, and they all connected
There
with
she is.
each other. Yay! Hey, Carly! Hey!
She's rocking her shirt too. I love it.
Okay, so is she going to be on the screen though, or no?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, but you're they can
Speaker
Zoom
view.
too. Okay, cool.
We've only done 1 million Zoom calls and we still don't know how to work.
Oh my God,
Maybe
you
one day.
look so awesome in your Hope Heals t-shirt. I
I
love
love
it. I love it so much. So shall we jump in? Carly, please introduce yourself and maybe you can say what it was like to go to Hope Hills Camp last year for the first time. I'd love that.
It was Carly Montgomery, like Catherine said, and it was really, really awesome. Like, I was looking forward to going this year, but we did change to Hope Hills at Home, which I'm like really excited about too. So I'll take any form of camp anywhere I can. So.
Oh, woohoo!
Well, Carly, tell us about that. We jumped into the camp world a couple of years ago. We've been to some camps growing up, but I think you're the camp expert. So we depend heavily on Carly. Because Carly, tell us a little bit about your history with camp.
I've been going to different camps for about 12 years, and every other camp I've been to was canceled this summer, except for Hope Hills Camp. So I was really excited that it wasn't canceled.
Yeah, well, us too. Goodness. And what a blessing that we will still be gathering, even though it will not be the same, and I'm not pretending it will be, but to stay deeply connected to the amazing people around the country like you is a top priority for all of us.
And Carly, you go to, tell us some of the camps you go to. You go to Young Life's Capernaum, is that right?
Yes, I volunteer with them in the past, and I also go to Camp Barnabas. Which is a camp in Missouri for special needs kids and adults too. But
everybody else is canceled, right? It's full.
no more. At least not.
Yeah. Which I mean, great decisions. Totally understand. I mean, not great, sad decisions, but necessary. In many ways.
Yeah.
But we like this solution a whole lot.
Well, what's kind of interesting too is that we, love the in-person camp experience, but most folks who are doing just that, it's probably pretty hard for them to pivot their system and to do something that would be virtual in this very unusual circumstance like we're experiencing now with the pandemic. And so we love those camps. We love Young Life and Barnabas and all of these incredible camps that serve folks with all different kinds of special needs. And yet we're really proud that we get to be leveraging the digital age to continue on this journey we have with our Hope Hills Camp community, including Carly and her family. You guys came last year. Do you have one memory, Carly, from last year, or just like one highlight that you liked about Hope Hills Camp?
Everything, but if I could pick one, I would say the spa day. That was pretty fun.
Oh, I love, that's like my favorite thing too, is the spa day, Carly. I love the ladies getting pampered. Woohoo!
Yeah.
We had to equivocate that. We might just have to get your dad to rub your feet at home.
Yeah.
And your moms too.
No kidding. Well, we just love you so much, Carly. Thank you so much for being on. And what a blessing to get to show these LA friends, just somebody across the country, literally further than Georgia across the country. I feel like just what an impact this sweet ministry has. So what a blessing.
Let me ask you one thing, Carly. What happened during quarantine? Something big happened to your family.
I had a baby niece. She was born like a week before quarantine started.
Wow.
So yeah.
Your name?
She's doing good now, but she's getting so big. It's crazy how big she's gotten already.
Man.
Oh, well, that is so cool.
In the midst of so much struggle, there's still new life coming up all around us. And so those are the things we're looking for. And we're cheering for you, Carly. We love you. We can't wait to see you in person.
Yeah, and we love your
really
sweet family. Hey, Lisa. Hey, John. We love you all.
Okay.
There's all. Mwah. Hey.
Okay, well, we'll see you at Hope Hills at Home.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
421.
Sounds good.
Okay, so back to our screen and
back to our screen. Well, Carly, that was so awesome. Carly's just one face and one family represented. Carly, a lot of the camps that she goes to also are focused predominantly on the individual with the special needs. So it's other folks, maybe Carly was born with CP, and so it might be other folks with CP that she's connected with, or it might be just other folks her age with different disabilities. And that's incredible. We love all of the community set up to just come alongside and uplift and create this opportunity for encouragement and relationship with people with special needs. But again, what you've heard all along is this opportunity, like we found in our family, for an entire family system to be ministered to and to be just come alongside and to have some resources and some encouragement for all the different unique circumstances that are happening within a family affected by disabilities. So,
and what's been crazy that we almost didn't recognize would happen, that will be able to completely happen again this year, is that people connect so deeply with each other. We just had no idea that people in totally different parts of the country would become very dear friends and be texting nonstop, fly to visit each other for holidays and just become family because they just get it and they're in it together and they're living it, and their baseline is just so different than what the people they're in normal daily life with is like, that they just feel so bonded for life. And they are I don't think they would have it if we said we're just not doing it this summer. They'd say, great. I mean, they already told us, many have said this actually, could you please just start a commune? Just go ahead, make a Hope Hills commune. We're all moving there. And we fought the urge.
that might get weird, but
That might
I
get weird.
understand where we're coming from. We also watched Waco on Netflix, so I don't know. I'm not feeling communes, but I get the idea. In theory, it's pretty good, by the way. I think what's interesting is just so many of these families too are already isolated, and in this season of increased isolation and stress. What's interesting is many of our families, it was kind of like, well, we checked in with a lot of them and they're like, yeah, this is not that different from our life. Like, the world is not safe and we're hunkered down and we got to do what we got to do. But then there were several other families, many of whom, the pandemic doesn't mean that the struggles of disability stop. And so we had at least 2 families that we're close with end up in the ICU, not related to COVID even, just related to issues with their disability. And this has been a stressful and straining time. And an isolating time, and even since our last LA fundraiser, let's see, I think since then we've had 3 other campers die. We've had a total of 5 campers pass away in the past 2 years. And so really what was interesting is we didn't think of this camp as really this poignant experience for families. And for some of them, it would have been maybe their last and their first family vacation all together. And this is just territory we didn't even think about. We just saw a need and we knew what was helpful for us and we offered it. And yet it has been something even more deep and more transcendent for families who are dealing with and longing for hope in the midst of their grief more than most people that we know. And then what beacons of hope they get to be. So it's so powerful and so worthwhile. And we're so excited to now in this season, believe it or not, excited is really the word, to say, in normal camp year, we wouldn't probably have had the bandwidth, honestly, to create a system for a live stream or video recording or creating and taking all this incredible content and then being able to reuse it and repackage it. And from a donation standpoint, to create content that we can then use to create more revenue for the ministry that makes it self-sustaining. I mean, there's really some interesting and exciting possibilities that are coming up through this limiting pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think in this microcosm, may it just speak hope over you today in whatever area you're limited in this season and struggling with, that there might be some things that crop up that you would not have been able to do were it not for this forced constraint on your life, and that they will be avenues to new freedom and avenues to in the breaking open a multiplication, I believe, of hope. And so that's what we're excited about. We're going to be able to take this content and actually also sort of invest in some of our speakers. I mean, frankly, we had about 20 speaking engagements that are a big chunk of Hope Heals revenue canceled, of course, this spring. And we're not the only ones who are dependent on books and speaking and all that. And so we get to sort of give a nod to and invest in some of the folks we love who are artists and speakers and pastors. And then we get to take some of that content and make it available for more people. And there's a lot of partnership opportunities we're looking at again, to multiply this. And so anyway, I'm so honored to have you guys be a part of this journey where we're hopefully being not only good stewards, but actually creating an opportunity to invest into broader and more broad-reaching opportunities with the same content that we'll be doing for camp. So
So in short, we can create something that's more than a one-time camp experience, which is so our hearts, that
Yeah.
we can multiply it and just utilize it differently so that it's not just the people in person
mhm.
in Alabama for a week. It's people wherever they are. And so many people dealing with disabilities cannot get out in the world for 10 million reasons. So the thought of bringing camp to them is really powerful long-term to engage people
Right.
who are unable to get to Alabama for a week.
Right. We love and invite any of your questions that you have as we kind of wrap up. But yeah, we're just, it's a crazy, crazy season, but there's just crazy amounts of hope and crazy amounts of new opportunities that we're honored to not do alone. I mean, it's we're entering in such a new territory, having to figure out just technological opportunities that we've never, we don't have any experience in. So it's reminded us yet again that we can't do this alone. We need God, we need each other. And so, yeah, this graphic, I think, kind of lays that out really powerfully, that this is not just this one-time event that we're looking to do, this one-time live stream virtual thing, but really it's this hope for this year in 2020, but then hope for tomorrow too. And I think that's so powerful. And I think, man, that's what hope does, and what hope is it is this exponential catalyst, this thing that we can't just keep inside of ourselves, that needs to be shared. And that's just what we're trying to do. So thanks for helping us do that.
Absolutely. Listen, we want to take a minute. If anybody has questions, put them into the comments on the YouTube chat and we will answer them. And then we will absolutely be honoring of your time and off shortly, and just can't possibly express how grateful we are that y'all are with us in this, and have been literally since the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
And I mean, from the hospital all the way to rehabs to today. It's just so incredibly special, and we're forever grateful.
Caroline, you can go ahead and put that other slide up as well. I think what's so neat too is that there's just these really concrete and tangible ways that we would love for you to support financially. And of course, we would love your prayers. We'd love any insights you have and connections. We've been working really hard. Our team, it's so cool to have had this team in place that is really adept at things like production. And we have a great network in Atlanta of folks who know how to do all these things like live stream.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
Just a wonderful workforce to help we're doing a bunch of mailings too, and a bunch of care packages, and a bunch of sort of like melding, not just another Zoom call and a YouTube for our camper families to engage, but really a hybrid. And that requires a lot of manpower and stuff, and also just a lot of resources. Frankly, another side thing is that a lot of the revenue from our volunteers is what creates revenue that helps us put on camp. And in this season, we made it available for everybody to get a refund who was a volunteer in any way they needed. And we kind of really thought through that system. But, the problem with that is that then that really chopped a lot of our revenues to be able to put on camp. This is going to not cost nearly as much, of course, as a camp rental and all of that, but we want to do it right. And this is, as we've said, a lot of these folks, this is their only vacation. This is kind of a pinpoint of light and connection in their summer that they have to look forward to. So we're trying to really offer something that is thoughtful and that is connecting and really something different than people have maybe been a part of. So anyway, it takes some resources to do it, not as much, thankfully. And again, I think those will be investments that can then create new kinds of revenue in the future, which is exciting. But
Absolutely.
here's some helpful levels of support.
Yeah, for $50, you can help us to execute virtual family photos. For $100, you can bring the banquet, our fabulous
You're going way too fast. Sorry, really quickly. one of our friends who is a camp photographer has set up a way to do virtual family photos. And so she's in Texas, but we're going to have her do the portraits of families. So you can help support that. And then, sorry, go ahead. I just think that's really cool. People are leveraging new ways of doing their thing.
Oh,
It's amazing.
totally. Okay, next, our incredible Luke 14 banquet. For $100, you can provide meal delivery so that we can bring the banquet to them. Luke 14 banquet has become just a very special part of camp, the final night where we just, I mean, so many of you know it, it feels silly to go into, but basically we get to gather all the volunteers, all the campers, and just share a beautiful meal and evening concert even. Really saying we're with you. We're not trying to fix you or change you or heal you. We're just with you in this. And it's very powerful. So we want to replicate that by sending meal delivery. Next, for $250, you can send a camp care package. We're sending fabulous camp care packages to all our campers.
And like what Carly mentioned too, her favorite experience was the spa day. You know,
Yeah.
we're trying to think creatively how to equivocate some of those things all in one box. And what I love, and again, I'll toot our horn a little bit. We always have the intention, how can we leverage the resource towards helping other communities? So instead of just buying the cheapest and the most junky because it's the lowest dollar, we are, for instance, with the spa day, we're supporting in Texas a community of people with special needs that creates soaps and products. We have another community in Nashville, women freed from sex trafficking, called Thistle Farms, that we support. We buy all of our oils from them. So that's, you know, and even our t-shirts, we buy ones that are ethically made. And so it's a small detail, but that's just our heart. We want to take the resource and leverage it in a special way. So that's what we're going to be doing with those care packages for the families, to make them really fun and interactive, and also in the process support other great ministries and businesses.
Absolutely. For $500, you can provide access to childcare for 5 families. This is going to be amazing. We are going to be able to allow people to actually engage with the content because childcare would be provided to them.
A lot of our families, you know, depend on either outside families to come and help with their children, say, who have special needs, or some different kind of healthcare services that many have been stopped during the pandemic. So the families that, you know, sometimes get these outside help have not had any of that for a long time. And I think it's, you know, it's a small nod for us to be able to say, hey, for this short day and a half, we want to help underwrite your childcare so you can be present and you can engage with the other families during the live stream virtual experience.
Okay, next, for $1,500, you can provide sign language interpretation for all sessions, which is going to be an incredible addition. We have not done that in person before, and how beautiful. Such a great example of how a constraint has meant something new flourishes, and that's us providing sign language.
And I think too, for us, you know, if you know disability, if you know your disability, you know your disability, you know, and you're all of a sudden this this demographic, the largest minority group in the world, but I don't know a lot about folks who are hearing impaired, and we've gotten to learn in the process. You know, we've gotten to learn about autism, we've gotten to learn about MS and strokes and all these kind of different things. But this is just kind of interesting. But you know, you might say, oh, why don't you just close caption it because you can read? Well, if you're born deaf, you can't read. You might just know American Sign Language. So there's kind of all this new layers of learning to say, wow, what if we could then open up these resources and this teaching to folks who are hearing impaired, who have more limited access to some of these resources because they depend on sign language interpretation. So anyway, that's a cool opportunity.
Absolutely. The final $2,000-3,000, you can provide film, sound, and lighting crew for one day for this to happen, which will be incredible. Please do that. So wonderful to actually help us get this thing turned into something worth sending out. And lastly, for $5,000, you can provide live stream technology for one of our sessions. Y'all, live stream technology is super expensive, and we need help being able to afford it.
Yeah,
so,
probably more accurately, we need a couple of that level just to do it right. You know, maybe some of y'all have seen live streams throughout the season, and if a live stream freezes on a person for like 5 seconds, I'm probably going to move on, and that's, so we want it to be simple, but we want it to be very user friendly and excellent. So we've found some great partners in that category, but understandably, they're in high demand right now. And so we want to engage them. We'd love your support in doing that. And you can go to Hope Heals at Home. So it says Hope Heals Home, but at the bottom of the screen, but Hope Heals at Home, we put it in the chat at the bottom of the YouTube actually too. And we'll be emailing you. So check your inboxes too in a minute for the links and opportunities to donate. It's all tax deductible as always. And yeah, just to me, it's just, we're so excited. I know it sounds silly, but we're just amidst so much pain, amidst so much struggle. This is an exciting bright point for us in our summer. It's been a hard couple months for us too. We, the ups and downs and the fears of a pandemic and
all of it,
and, running a nonprofit and lots of things canceled and just being homeschool teachers and wearing all these hats and all the struggles in our family and marriage and whatever, and lost my grandmother last week, and health issues for folks with disabilities, and all of us continue. And then you've certainly got this just incredible time of uprising and pain and grief over just the racial state of affairs. And I just believe so many good things are on the far side of our pain. And again, in our microcosmic community of camp, we want to shout that out from the rooftops, that this is not the end of the story. The suffering is not the end, and there's healing and hope together. And that's what we want to do. And you guys, we couldn't do it without you. We're just beyond grateful to be on the journey with you. And yeah, that's about all we've got tonight.
Yeah, we love the truth of Romans 5, that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character hope. And hope will never disappoint. Hope will never put us to shame. And that somehow, even in this crazy season of so much loss and so much suffering, there's such a comfort that producing from this time is something that we long for so much, which is a deeper personhood, a deeper character, a deeper perseverance, and ultimately a hope that's born from suffering. It's pretty interesting. After my stroke, I read a lot of books about like, how do people live like this? How does life ever go on when you become disabled and you have this atrocious thing happen? And over there was this theme that deep affliction actually creates something new, and a person suffers greatly and kind of comes out and lives differently because of where they've been. And it's just such a comfort in this hard time we're in right now. And for sure, as we embrace the thought of camp, which I don't think we talked about this, but this theme of constraints equal flourishing is actually the theme of our camp this summer, which Carly, don't tell that you already know that, but that's actually the theme, because what could be more fitting, right? That in our tremendous constraints, flourishing happens, and it's the gospel.
And camp has always been, we say, not a mountaintop, but a launching point. And we think more than ever, the world needs the story of disability. The world needs people who have come alive with this new kind of lens that they can view their life and the gospel and God in the midst of their pain, to then go back to their homes and their communities and their schools and work and tell that story and live that story. And so again, what's so powerful, I think, is just that's what we're empowering in this Hope Heals at Home. And it's really simple, but it's just a reminder to go and be witnesses to the light in their lives, to go and be these catalytic humans that are living out this simple story, that the struggle and the strain of the constraint of a life they didn't imagine they'd be living is still the opportunity for a life that they can love and live well. And that's what we all want to hear. So,
amen.
Thanks for being a part
so
of that.
Thank you guys so much for getting on here tonight. And we missed you in Los Angeles, all you amazing people. Come see us in Atlanta once we can fly again.
until we meet again, we'll see you soon. But yeah, can't wait to connect more. Thank you guys. We love you.
Love y'all.
Good night.
Bye. Good
Bye-bye.
night.